Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. I'm your host, Viz, and tonight our guest is Jordan Rodriguez, who is one of the stars of Disney's new series, National Treasure Edge of History, which is premiering on Disney Plus December 14th. Jordan, thank you so much for being our guest. How are you doing?
Oh man, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. The show comes out tomorrow, and
Are you pumped?
I'm very pumped. I'm very nervous and very excited for it to just be out there finally.
Now, Jordan here, for, us old folks like me, has like a ton of, he's a uber popular guy. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers. And when he answered the Zoom call, I'm like, you're Australian. That's how out of the loop I am. And I apologize for that. But I think it's great. Again, National Treasure, Edge of History is premiering tomorrow, December 14th on Disney Plus. We're going to break it down and let's just get right to it. Now,
Sure.
were you familiar with the whole National Treasure, the movies, before you auditioned for this role?
Well, I think growing up, you always saw it around. Being from Australia, it wasn't like the movie. It wasn't such a like cult classic as it was in America.
Yeah.
But I had heard of it, and I probably would have watched it when I was a lot younger. But it was one of those things when I heard the show was sorry, the film franchise was turning to a series. I watched the films, and let me tell you, it was really exciting, and it got me really pumped up to audition and picture myself in this series. It's just such a great movie, and it's a popular cult classic for a reason.
It is. And I love the movies. When I heard they were making the series, I'm like, I was, a little bit skeptical. They're bringing it really into the modern generation. They're taking the treasure outside of America. They're breaking some of the old rules, but they're sticking. As I watched some of the first couple of episodes, they they kept a lot of what was in the movies, but I love what the new elements that they brought into the television series as well. Now, your character's name is Ethan, okay?
Yes.
Um, you're one of four close knit friends.
Hmm.
Your relationship, as I started watching this series with Jess, played by Lizette Oliveira, it was odd. We were trying to figure out if you guys were a couple, what's going on. So, how would you best describe Ethan's relationship to Jess?
So our backstory is that we grew up together, and the real in-depth description of that is that Jess's mom, Manuela, she was my tutor, and she was also the family maid. So we grew up from a very young age together, me and Jess, and there was a very instant like bond and connection there. Um, I think some would say love at first sight. So we're just very close. We have sort of a connection, a deep connection, but also like we just think very similarly.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lot smarter than me in the show, but we're always two steps ahead of everyone else together. Um, yeah, it's a complicated relationship because from the pilot you realize there is a romance there, but they're too afraid to sort of venture into that to ruin the friendship. And
Exactly.
I mean, we've all sort of been there, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a interesting storyline, and it sort of helps drive the whole show.
Now, Ethan has been described as a type A rule follower. What do you think about that description?
I mean, that was the description in the audition when I got it. Um, so I mean, it's kind of spot on. He loves, his routine, his habits. He sort of needs things to go the way it needs to go, the right way. He doesn't like breaking rules, but
Hmm.
that's what makes his character so great. His journey is so impactful because he really has to start letting go of certain things that he can't control, i.e., Jess's journey with this adventure. So
Exactly.
it's actually it's a lot of growth. You'll see in the show.
Now, your character in the posters is like described as the skeptic. Not a skeptic, but the way I saw Ethan is he wanted Jess to drop this whole treasure idea because of their friendship and the deeper feelings he may have for her. What do you think about that?
Well, there are. It's obviously about the relationship. That's the core of it, and that's sort of what I based all my character work on, is the relationship. But what makes the series different from the movies is that I think the stakes are a lot higher when it comes to Jess's situation. Jess is a dreamer from Mexico. She was
Yeah.
brought over, um, not by her choice, to America, and she is now in the DACA program. If a dreamer or someone in DACA gets in trouble with the police, with the law, even just a speeding fine or jaywalking, they can
Jaywalking.
be sent back
Yeah.
to their home country. And the thing with Jess is she doesn't know anybody there. She doesn't have family. She doesn't have any connection. She doesn't have any money there. If she gets sent back to Mexico, that is just going to be heartbreaking for Ethan, obviously. But it's just so the stakes are so high
They are.
when it comes to this treasure hunt.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because if you watch the movies with Nicolas Cage being the main character, it's besides the second movie where it involves his grandfather, there's really not anything personal on the line, as it is with Jess, her mother, her father, who she thought was a deadbeat the most of her life, and she starts to realize what her father was truly about. So I'm really glad you pointed that out. Now the show brings back some characters from the movies, mainly Harvey Keitel, brilliant actor, Justin
Yes,
Bartha,
amazing.
who played Riley Poole. What
Yep.
did you think about them bringing back some old faces into the TV series?
I mean, they did it so tastefully. I really believe that Disney are doing the best at bringing back characters from old franchises. They're doing it the best in the
Yeah.
industry. Harvey's reveal is so huge, and he sort of grounds this whole series right from the get-go. Obviously with his amazing acting ability, but he really is the one that sets Jess off on this journey
Hmm.
and this adventure, and it's really awesome. Justin Bartha was really cool to work with. I work with him just like a day, but it was so cool to just be on set with him, and we could just pick his brain about the movies and his time on set, and he was just a fountain of knowledge. It was just really, really cool, and he's still got it, like he still brings that charm and that playfulness to the show, and it was just incredible.
The main antagonist in the series is Catherine Zeta Jones, who plays the character Billy, and it was great seeing Catherine on the screen. What was it like having such a veteran on set with you guys?
Man, well, just like Justin, I sort of had only one day with her, but Catherine was, in and out of set all the time, and we would always pass each other on the halls, and she was had such a great attitude. I think she was also working on something else. It might have been Wednesday, but um, she was so professional, so kind, so nice, and everything I heard about her on set was just really positive. She was not a diva at all. She was always on time, always knew her lines. So it was really cool. It was good to sort of have Catherine on set and holding us sort of like subconsciously to a high degree, which was really
Hmm.
nice. Um, we have one scene together, and it might involve a stunt.
And
I'm
we'll
just
leave
gonna
it
leave
at
it there,
that. We'll leave it
and
at
we'll
that.
just leave it there. But she's awesome, She's such a pro, and she's just. I'm so glad we got her on involved in this project.
Now, a lot of the interactions with the new characters mirror from the movies. Like we said, Jess is a replica of Nicolas Cage's character, Ben
Yeah,
Franklin. Now, what I really enjoyed is they brought back some of the monologue where someone starts a thought and another person and then finish it. And that is done with your character, Ethan, and Lizette in, I believe, episode 2, when you guys are watching that video reveal of her mom. When it came to some of the dialogue that you had with Jess, Lizette, uh, did you guys try to mirror the movies and how Nicolas Cage and Diane did it? Or how did you guys go about it?
Absolutely. Well, the Wibbs, the original writers from the movies, the Wibbleys, Cormac and Marianne, and they definitely wanted us to bring that nostalgic factor to the words and the way Nicolas Cage like created this universe. And so there are little Easter eggs here and there just about how we say certain lines, the way me and Lisette are finishing off each other's sentences, even the way Nicolas Cage sort of is doing that, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, that thing where he's like saying a word and then it transforms into another word and then transforms into another word and then he goes, bingo, that's it.
Yep.
There was a scene where Marianne and Cormac did want me to sort of emulate that Nicolas Cage reaction. So that was really cool. And I was all for it.
Oh,
I really wanted to make sure the fans are like still getting that nostalgic factor.
I definitely got it because I was watching that
Good.
episode too. It brought me right back to the movies. The
Oh,
dialogue
amazing.
between those two. Now, did the director give you guys freedom? Okay, when it came to that dialogue, she wanted you to bring nostalgia back. But were you guys given any freedom to inject your own interpretations into your characters?
Oh yeah, absolutely. From the beginning, we were workshopping these characters, and they trusted us. Marianne, Cormac, Miraner, who directed the first episode, they really all gave us like a lot of freedom to just create our character, and they trusted us. They casted us for a reason, and they didn't treat us like children on set. They really asked, how do you see this scene going? How do you see this storyline going? And I remember, especially in episode 2, we work with Nathan, and that was such an awesome episode because we got to really just dive deep into just what we thought, and we got to have a very open dialogue with every director. It was just a blessing. It really was.
Going back to that episode too, and we talked about that where you guys watched the video of Jess's mom. I only got a limited amount of episodes so far, but it's the one scene where the expanded group that's going to go on this treasure hunt is in the same room together watching that video. How did the shooting that scene go with all of you in the same room? Did you guys get it on the first take? Walk us through it.
Well, okay, that was actually a really cool day because that was the whole cast on set. The first scene with the whole Scooby Gang. We like to call ourselves the Scooby Gang, but it was really surreal. Lisette had all the heavy lifting that day. She had about 3 pages of monologue.
Mm-hmm.
To just really launch this series into what it is going to be, and we sort of had to just sort of sit there, respond, and it was cool. My character sort of comes in a little later,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to sort of play catch up. But once he's on board, like it's all guns blazing from there.
I was gonna
We
ask you.
really
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
no,
was
you're good.
I
You're
was
good.
gonna ask you about that. Because seeing that video does get you in guns blazing. Again, does that go back to his feelings for Jess, or does he really believe that there is something out there that was hidden in regards to a treasure?
I mean, you see in that video how personal it is to Jess.
Yeah.
Ethan loves Jess. He will do anything for Jess, and he is a rule follower, as we said before, and he is willing to break rules for Jess. And I think that is like, true love. Um, but because it deals with her family, it deals with her history, it's so personal, it's so intimate with her. Like that is the moment Ethan really gets on board with it
Hmm.
and says, okay, well, if you're gonna do it, I'm coming with you, and I'm gonna make sure you don't get in trouble or die, basically.
Exactly. Now, when you guys all got together first for the first time, did it take a while for you guys to warm up to each other, or did you get along right from the get go?
Oh man, we were all sort of airdropped into Baton Rouge, a bunch of strangers. But I'll tell you the backstory. When I was chemistry reading with Lisette, I was the last to be cast. They already had like a group chat going, and as soon as I was cast, they launched me into the group chat, and everybody was so kind. Everybody was like, "Here's my number. Reach out if you need anything," And I was the same. And when I we got into Baton Rouge, it was COVID, like COVID hell. So nobody could see each other, and also nobody wanted to break the rules. Nobody wanted to break the Disney rules. So we were sort of just zooming for the first week that we got there, and we're drinking. I don't know if I could say that, but we were
Yeah,
drinking
you
and
can.
playing games, and we're just getting to know each other, and it really felt so great. Like it just felt so right, and we would do script runs, read throughs on our own time. We really just wanted to nail this pilot, basically. But as soon as we got to see each other in person, it felt like we knew each other for years. It really felt like a family, and it really felt like the work that we had done prior to seeing each other really it just helped. And the chemistry offset was amazing.
Hmm.
And I think, from what everybody's saying, is like the chemistry on screen is just as like
It is.
real. So I'm just so stoked with the turnout.
And that is something that is so important, off-screen chemistry, because it does translate to on-screen chemistry. And it's absolutely correct, whoever told you that. You guys come across as being lifelong friends. Again, guys, the show is called National Treasure, Edge of History. It is premiering tomorrow, December 14th on Disney Plus. If you've never watched the National Treasure movies, watch them. You don't have to see the movies to enjoy this show. It does make references to the movies, but it's not pivotal to the plot line. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a standalone thing. It's set 20 years later. But watching the movies before any sort of reboot comes out is always really fun
Yeah,
because you do get the Easter eggs. Just like Top Gun. You gotta watch
exactly.
Top Gun before you watch Top Gun 2, right?
Maverick, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Jordan, you're great in the show. Everyone is great. I can't wait to see the remainder episodes when they air. Do you have anything final to say before we go tonight?
Oh man, I just hope everybody loves the show. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this one, and yeah, be kind to us on the internet or the reviews, but like we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for like taking the time to talk to me.
Absolutely. And actually, I do have one final question. I don't know if you're able to answer this, but as far as you know, is this a limited one season only series, or is the door open for other possible season?
The door is open.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I can say that, but we definitely want a season two. You know, let's make that happen, hopefully.
Absolutely. Jordan, thank you so much. I want to thank our audience, those of you who are tuning in live, and those of you who'll be watching this later on. Again, National Treasure, Edge of History, tomorrow, Disney Plus. Our guest, Jordan Rodriguez, plays the character of Ethan. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to our guests. Until next time, stay safe and
Thank
stay
you.
walking. Good night, everybody.